What is the most aggressive thing a woman has ever done to gain your attention? I just had something out of the movies happen to me. This middle-aged woman sitting across me swapped seats to face me better. She then proceeded to open and cross her legs in my full view while looking at me. She was wearing a short skirt, by the way. I could literally feel my testosterone come alive, and my body proved it. Took a lot of math classes in college. A young college woman asked if I would tutor her as she can't keep up with her class. She comes over and immediately plops herself down on my bed like she owns it. Never been over before. And then after like 5 minutes of small talk before we even get to the homework, she bluntly and very much out of the complete blue says, "I want to see what your cock looks like." Most porn-esque moment of my entire life. I never did help her with her math at all. I hate to break it to you. She was an undercover agent for the Mandatory Cock Inspection Agency. If you're still around to read this, you passed. Had company over and we were all drinking. One woman in particular had been talking to me all night. But I was too drunk to see the signs. I went to the garage to grab something and she followed to help. Then out of the blue she says, "I just started going to a new place to get waxed, how did they do?" And drops her pants in front of me. I 100% understand the testosterone comment. For all the fellas that have never had any woman try and get their attention, come with me, we're not wanted in this thread. While at work, she showed me a picture of her vagina on her phone and said, "You can have this when you want." Takes phone, thanks. I said I was a lifeguard. She said she could volunteer if I needed CPR practice. One girl walked up to me and straight up asked if I had a girlfriend. I said no, then asked if I wanted one. Those two stand out the most. A long time ago, I used to do trade school 2 nights a week. One night I was leaving school in my little car, and pulled up at the lights out the front. I look over and the chick in the car next to me was kinda hot. She gave a little smile. I smiled back, trying to play it cool, then went back to waiting for the light. After a few seconds I noticed she's waving at me. I looked over and she's smiling, waving and giving me the sign to wind down my window. So, feeling pretty good about myself, I wind down the window, thinking I'm going to get a number. She immediately told me I'd left my backpack on the roof of my car. The light went green and she drove off. Not super aggressive, but snatched my phone out of my hand and put her number into my contacts before telling me to call her. We went out on one date and she ended up being nuttier than squirrel shit, so I bailed on her. Stuck her thigh between my legs and tried to hump me, while my GF sat right next to me laughing her ass off. That shit never ever happened to me when I was single. My 29th birthday, we had a small party at my brother's place. A few coworkers showed up. I went to pee. When I opened the bathroom door, a girl I worked with was standing outside the door. Before I could say anything or take a step out, she had grabbed me by the front of my shirt and pushed me back into the bathroom and started making out with me. Super hot and very unexpected. Girl 1. She straight up asked me on a date. In the middle of the date hinted and seeing the inside of my apartment. Then at the end of the date asked if she could use the bathroom in my apartment. Girl 2. I was giving a ride home from the bar. When we got to her place, I said good night. She grabbed the keys out of my ignition and said, "You aren't going anywhere tonight," and ran into her house with them. Did you call the police? On Girl 1 after she completely devastated his bathroom. 11th grade, she carved a wooden heart out and put our initials on it and handed it to me after high school. I had never spoken to her. She was a foreign exchange student and barely spoke English. I felt bad for being a bit put off, but admired the testicular fortitude. Friend's girlfriend asked me to fuck her in the bathroom of a strip club. We were sitting at the bar and my friend was maybe 4 feet away with his back turned. Turns out they deserved each other, cause a couple years later my friend tried to get my girlfriend to cheat on me with him. No longer friends. Edit. To be clear, I turned her down. Had a girl in college walk up, look me up and down and say, "You look like a good fuck, let's leave." She later tried to stab me through a door because she thought it was locked. If you're gonna bang crazy chicks, use a condom and have sturdy doors. At the end of a class, everyone was squeezing into an elevator. This girl and I liked each other, but I still tried to give her space. She manhandles me closer to her and says, "Don't be scared." Everyone around us was like, whoa. That sparked our relationship. I was in a club with 4 friends and I drunkenly walked up behind one of my female friends and grabbed her thong and gave her a wedgie. The girl who turned around was not one of my friends but a pretty hot girl I'd never seen before. I started apologizing like crazy and she said, "Don't worry about it," gave me a kiss and her phone number. We ended up dating on and off for a year. You handsome motherfucker. I was at a restaurant with 3 friends. We're sitting at the table, cutting up, laughing, and having a good time. Out of nowhere, a crumpled up napkin lands right next to my plate. I look up and a waitress is walking by and smiling at me. I'm clueless and say something like, "Who's throwing their trash at me?" She walks by again and low-key says to open it. Written inside is her name and phone number. I'm clueless and say something like, "Who's throwing their trash at me?" Lol, I would have thrown it back at her. Threw her arms around my neck, and wouldn't let go. We were 16 years old. We will celebrate our 46th anniversary later this year. Together for 51 years. She has poor taste in men, but I'm pretty happy about that. Handed me her phone, flip phone era, she had typed, "I don't usually do this but I want to be yours tonight if you'll let me," or something to that effect. We ended up dating. I work in what many would consider a more conservative environment, not politically conservative, workplace etiquette conservative due to the nature of our business. I had been working at my current job for about 3 weeks when this very attractive woman, that works in a different department, drove by in a company vehicle and yells, "Dude, you give me a huge lady boner." Being who I am, I thought it was funny as hell. I am happily married, which she did not know at the time, and in the decade that has followed we have become good friends. She has since married and had children, but we still randomly joke about it. She gave a loud fart which we all heard and called me out by name to tell that it's her loudest fart ever. Sat on my lap, put her arms around me and then blew hot breath in my ear and said, "Take me home, we were at a friend's place." But after that we were gone in 60 seconds. Grabbed my junk under the table during a friendly game of Texas Hold'em with several friends. Were you in Texas? Because she sure was holding them. I'd been dancing like a twat at a party. Went outside to cool off. Girl comes out and punches me full in the stomach. I'm there going WTF. She informs me that it's unacceptable to have left the dance floor when her favorite song just came on. I assume that's what you mean by aggressive. In my 20s I used to work as a bouncer at night and a personal trainer during the day. One night while working at the club, one of the MILFs from my gym comes to the club with a couple of her friends celebrating one of their 45th birthdays. I have only ever seen this woman at the gym with no makeup on, but she is naturally beautiful with a killer body, kind of resembled a thicker Lisa Ray from Players Club. We always speak to each other and sometimes we will flirt a little bit at the gym, but that's as far as it has ever went. When she sees me she lights up. She says OMG_blank. I didn't know you worked here. She gives me a big hug pressing her body into mine, and holds on like we are way more than casual gym friends. We chat for a bit, then she goes back to her friends. I get the bar manager to send them a round of shots and check on them periodically throughout the night. Towards the end of the night, after she has had some more drinks, she comes and finds me on my post, walks straight up to me and starts dancing on me. After a few songs she turns around, looks me right in the eyes and tells me I'm taking her home tonight. I tried to play it cool like cool I got you, but inside I'm like, oh shit. I think I am gonna get to smash this fine-ass cougar. I drive her home. She has this dope-ass condo downtown with views of the city. Once we get inside we immediately start going at it. We had sex 2 times that night and once again in the morning. I am sitting next to my wife. She was my GF at the time, at my wife's grandmother's funeral, when a family friend of theirs who was sitting on the other side of me, GF on my right, this girl on my left, just reaches under the table and grabs my dick through my pants. My wife sees this and tells her, "Can you let go of my boyfriend's dick?" Loud ASF so the whole table can hear. It was the weirdest fucking thing to happen at a funeral. She kissed my hand. In the middle of me interviewing her for a job. Nothing. I have hired thousands of people for different jobs, and this was a call center position and she was, pretty enthusiastic. Nervous energy? She was really into it? Don't know. Did have to fire her eventually for arranging a hookup with a random caller. Many crazy things have happened over the years. But what sticks out the most in my mind is that one time that I got into a fight with 4 other guys and a girl I knew and somewhat hanged out with was randomly walking down the street and saw me fighting them. All by myself. Stupid. I could get hurt, I know. So, before I know it, I see her in my side, kicking and screaming at the guys that I was fighting. So, yeah, not anything sexual, but definitely aggressive. Any woman that has your back like that is potential wifey material. Fully naked to get the point across and then later naming a kid after me.